Hello, it's a fifth line day. We are in gate 20, line 5, and it's called Realism. Ra says that when you get to this line in the 20th gate, you get to the real people on the planet who in the now see the real world. They see all the ugliness and they see all the beauty, and they can become ugly junkies or they can become beauty junkies, or anything in between. Ra was quite forceful, shocking, hyperbolic as he spoke. These were some of the qualities that he had in his design. He would go in and he'd go, these are the people who see ugliness, and they see beauty, and they see other things too. But the 20 line 5 can be deeply sensitive to this world, and it can be truly horrible, ugly world at times. And that's not necessarily something you want to get up close and personal with. And yet you can't deny that it's there. You can't escape it. But there is also a lot of good and a lot of beauty in this world, and they're designed to see that too. The lifetime learning says contemplation in and of itself is no guarantee of success. It's not enough to be existential. If you don't have any power, what will you do with what you recognize in the now? If you don't have any awareness, what can you make of it? And if you don't have an identity, or you don't know who you are in the now, what are you going to do with that? Because these are the themes of the 3 other gates that the 20 point towards. The 5th line is deeply aware and it recognizes these themes. This is upper trigram. It knows that those other 3 gates are out there. And of course, when we have it in the solar position, it is connected to the 34. It knows that it's there. They know that just being in the now isn't enough. They really need that power to do something with it. So it's really fortunate that we've got the 20 meeting the 34 and having the complexity here. There are lots of opportunities in a way for that 20 to get hooked up with other gates so that it can express its knowing in the now, its nowness, its contemplation of the now. The exaltation says where concentration on direct results in perfected form. I haven't quite got that right, have I? The success of expressing awareness through detail. We just double check. I haven't quite got that. Where concentration on detail results in a perfected form. I missed a word out, didn't I? These are guys who see everything in the now. You know, it's their gift. But as a 5th line, they have to be called out. And what they can see can infuriate others. Yeah, they're the heretic. In the detriment, it says where reality creates dissatisfaction and adds to instability. The expression of the awareness in the now through dissatisfaction with the reality that one sees. These are people who can become very unstable. And in the polarity, this plays out as people who become unstable because everything is beautiful. And that means that there's something wrong because where's the ugliness? Where is it? Where is it? Or the instability can come from the fact that everything is so terribly ugly. Where's the beauty to be found? And so there's no kind of stability there somehow. It can be useful as a barometer for the rest of us to have someone around who is, really showing us where the ugliness is, where the beauty is, because they're so finely attuned to that. These are people who can walk out of their house in the morning and they see that everything is ugly. They see the unemptied litter bins. They see the drunk lying in the doorway. They see the rust in the cars, the road that needs to be repaired. With genetic continuity, there is a need to fix things in the 5th line. It's part of the makeup that they carry. But these are folk who get the whole movie in one breath. And it's quite something to be tuned into these elements that are present in the world. unless they're connected to awareness through the 57 or to the motor of the 34, unless they're connected to identity through the 10, they can be very deeply uncomfortable with the capacity that they have to see everything, to see what is ugly. It can be quite a burden in their life, because unless they have those other gates of integration, it can be very hard for them to see why life is worth surviving. And you might wonder, well, where is the value in this? Oh, well, one of our directions is to find out where the aesthetics are so that we can move towards them. So we need to be told, this is where the aesthetic is, this is where beauty is, this is our direction. And that can be very empowering. It can be self-empowering. It's something that we all need. Sometimes, especially with some of these detriments, they can seem a bit challenging. And I have to remind myself that people who are born with these activations, who have it activated consistently in their chart, perhaps even in the personality sun, which of course is the case for anyone who's being born during this transit. And I remind myself, if you have these consistent activations, then you're designed that way. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You are actually inherently equipped to deal with these energies. And it just comes down to a question of using strategy and authority to navigate them correctly. It's not a question of me thinking, oh, you poor thing. It's more of a question of, God, what is it like to have this in your experience? Can you tell me what it's like to master the realism of the 20th gate? Grounding here is through the 34 line 5, which is called annihilation. It's the use of power to eliminate resistance when called out in moments of crisis, of course, when its use is practical, when they are called upon by the needs of the society. This is the power that can come to the aid of the 20th gate, can give them the fuel to do something with all of their observations of the beauty and ugliness that surround them in the world, can give them the fuel to bring that practical solution to the horror of the things they see and annihilate it, perhaps. They might take the gorgeousness along with them. Who knows? But always that polarity, always that binary, and the need to do things correctly because we don't know the bigger picture. We might think that by eliminating this, because our mind tells us, hey, that's ugly, let's get rid of that. If we're doing it from the mind, well, we don't know what effect that's going to have. And we don't know the effect if we do it correctly, but the chances are it will have, I won't say a positive effect, but we don't know. We don't know really what's positive and negative because we don't have the bigger picture. Until whatever it is comes and wipes everything off the planet in 1300 years, we have no idea how this movie is going to end. And even then, we're not going to see it, are we? Even then, there's the next stage that comes as the design crystals and the magnetic monopole and all the personality crystals clump together and go off on their Brahma's long night. Even then, when the entity is born, that we are forming the consciousness of, this is our role within the human design mythology, will we even know then? Do we ever know the result of anything that happens? It's quite an extraordinary thing when you start to get into that kind of a contemplation. And of course, it's not a contemplation of the now. Contemplation of what might come. It's, like sort of Charles Dickens, isn't it? So, it's contemplation of things to come. Other news. Pluto is on the move again. But of course, Pluto is always moving. Everything is always moving. But tomorrow morning, it moves back into gate 60. And the main keyword that we have for Pluto, or keywords, transformation and truth. Gate 60 is about limitation and acceptance, and it's part of the channel of mutation. So is this perhaps where we're going to find and experience transformation and truth? Pluto can bring to the surface anything that has been hidden that needs to be brought into the realm of consciousness. So as a global community, because these transits affect everyone on the planet, what does that look like? Where are we limited? Where do we limit others? Where can we be more accepting of ourselves or others, finding transformation in doing so? The moon is still in gate 5, doing its thing there at sacral gate, the gate of fixed rhythm. And then it goes into gate 26 at 1658. This is the gate of the egoist. It's a tribal ego gate, bringing its strength to the nurturing of the community. The gate can be manipulative. It has the skill to convince others that it needs the goods that it's selling, the products that it's got, the services, that it's essential for the material well-being of the community, that you have these things now. It's a gate of marketing. You know, it can turn almost any situation into something where its material needs are met. We can imagine this is the salesperson or perhaps even a politician. It's a gate that's always on the lookout for ways in which to work less and rest more. And this is the kind of balance that it comes into gate 26. It's not a balance in the way that we would necessarily see it on the scales, but this is the balance that works. And it's actually quite a good balance for the defined ego in any of those gates, you know, lots of rest for the defined ego. Give that heart lots of time to just calm down, because it can be so, willpower can really push us on and through to do and get things. Anyway, this isn't a talk about the willpower, is it? Sorry, moon, gate 11 at 3:15 tomorrow morning, the gate of ideas. A gate in the ajna, which is exploring the ideas that can be shared with and stimulating to others. It's a process that requires reflection, and the ideas come in and then they go, and it takes time to get a sense of what has been experienced. Processing the past to make sense of it. Assessing the experiences based on what can be remembered. This can result in formulating ideas and ideals and beliefs, inspiring and serving others. Although it can also lead to confusion and disappointment if it's applied to one's own life, because the mind is not for us. The mind is an outer authority. That's the weather for today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching or listening. And I hope to see you again tomorrow when we look at the line 6. And yeah, until then, bye-bye.